Hello friends, welcome to English Short End class. Ready? 1, 2, 3, start. According to Namal Karunaratne, National Convener of the All Ceylon Farmers Federation (ACFF), there is currently a small stock of imported chemical fertilizers that is grossly inadequate to fulfill the nationwide requirement. It takes months to import a large consignment of chemical fertilizers from the time of placing the order until it reaches the farmer. Even if the chemical fertilizers were immediately available, few farmers would be able to afford it, spending tens of thousands without the subsidy anymore. Moreover, with 75% of the current crop's life cycle already over, chemical fertilizers will not be of much help to paddy growers who add it at different stages after the sowing season, he pointed out. It might make a difference to farmers growing vegetables and fruits, though, he added. Karunaratne is now a familiar name in the media in recent months. He has been consistently challenging the government's policy shift, countering its claims with hard data and prevalent scientific opinion. The ACFF is affiliated to the Janata Vimukti Peramuna, currently in opposition with just 3 seats in the 225-member House. It is the largest organized body of farmers in the country. In his assessment, the government's ban on chemical fertilizers and subsequent tweak in policy allowing private players alone to import the same reveals its actual agenda. They just wanted to cancel the fertilizer subsidy, which they know will be an unpopular decision at any time, he said. Sadly, because of the route they took, our farmers will now forever be repulsed by the idea of organic farming, averse to exploring its merits. The government's efforts, he said, is the greatest disservice to the concept of organic farming. Speaking more broadly about the country's much neglected agriculture sector, Karunaratne said it was naive on the part of the government to think that they could simply tinker with one aspect, fertilizer use of farming, without reviewing Sri Lanka's water policy that is heavily tilted towards hydropower generation and much less towards agriculture. The neglect, he said, began after Sri Lanka liberalized its economy in 1977, ahead of any other country in the region. Before 1977, agriculture contributed 74% to our GDP. After opening up, it has reduced to about 7% despite employing 28% of our labor force, he said. The trust gradually moved to agro business, with successive governments failing to look at value addition or value chains within the market. In that way, agriculture in Sri Lanka is still at a very primitive stage, he remarked. Short-sighted policy. Regardless of how the government changes its fertilizer policy, the farmers' protests through the last 7 months have built political momentum, he noted. They promised national security but failed to realize that a crucial component of national security is food security, and that is in complete disarray now. This is bound to have a political cost. What began as a farmer's problem is already manifesting as a problem of all consumers, seen in the soaring costs of rice and vegetables and the fear of an imminent shortage, he pointed out. LPG cylinders are in short supply or are exploding, he said, referring to a series of recent accidents amid shortage. People are just frustrated. It was this frustration that Jayatilega voiced while swearing never to vote for the Rajapaksas again. It is time to weed out the old crop of politicians. They don't care about us, he said. The fertilizer controversy has upset his decades-old voting reflex while also making him averse to all politicians, those in government, those in opposition, everyone. The sentiment is not insignificant. Just 2 years into President Gotabai's term, coming from a senior citizen in Sri Lanka's Sinhala Buddhist hinterland, no less than Prime Minister Mahinda's own constituency, it begs the question of whether the sheen of the Rajapaksa brand might be wearing off now. On the one hand, it is evident that the Rajapaksa administration's biggest slip yet was not on account of a challenge thrown by the political opposition or due to pressure from the international community. It was its own short-sighted policy change that is proving a costly political error. On the other, with no imminent election or formidable opposition, the ruling coalition has a 2/3 majority in Parliament. It is difficult to see what might come of the disillusionment voiced by traditional supporters. Although vehement in their condemnation of the government's fertilizer policy dilemma, farmers are barely preoccupied with its political implication now. They have more pressing concerns like the next harvest and what that could mean to their families, 3 meals in the coming year. My father was a farmer. I am 65 and I have grown food all my working life. I never thought I would be facing a food shortage at home, Sylvester said.